will be flowing. Every single jump, every breaking stroke, every way, every
Welcome inside the locker room.
We're Smooth 98.1 FM. Good morning and welcome inside the locker room. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa, and I've been joined this morning by Tega Onojiafe, the princess. Good morning, Tega.
Good morning, Omas. How's your weekend?
Hello, Tega.
This weekend, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, Tega.
Yeah, good morning. I said, how was your weekend?
Weekend was everything but it was exciting, I would say. But until it got to that point, I saw the visuals coming from Sevilla. Then I just said this wasn't what I was bargaining for. You didn't warn me about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that with Vinicius Jr. And a lot of people are talking about the man, but I'm going to touch on the kid because there was a little boy doing the same thing. It's just that of course, maybe for child protection and all of that, his pictures are not going around. So we'll talk on the Vinicius Jr. issue. But huge deal. We'll talk about the London Derby. How that really turned out in a completely different way. But we'll be touching on that. And I just want to say a special hi to LK Aderuba. Hope he's doing good. Hope he's had his tea. So we'll be talking about Chelsea, Arsenal. We'll also talk about what's happening in Italy with AC Milan and Pioli, and then we'll touch a little bit on the UEFA Champions League. But before we do all of this, Omatseye, tell us, how can we be a part of the locker room this morning?
With all pleasure on a Monday morning, as important as it is for me. On Mondays, it's 0809-444-0981 will be where we like to get all of those messages relating to your bands and any reaction to other sports stories. Tega would be helping us have a great postmortem on this morning. Once again, 0809-444-0981 WhatsApp messages. And of course, send us send us a next message on @smooth981fm. And of course, on YouTube, you can also catch us live there on youtube.com/smooth981fm Lagos. I'm done, Tega. Tega, you have to unmute
on that
now.
Oh, okay. On that note, let's see the headlines and then let's go through the headlines and then we'll start the show proper.
So on the bill this morning, Hamilton Leclerc disqualified from US Grand Prix after inspection FIA. As we also have Shelton beats Karasev at Japan Open for first ATP Tour title. Of course, the call has been made already now. Arsenal fight back from 2 goals down to draw at Chelsea. And then we also got tearful Lucatelli sings 10-man Milan as Juve close in on leaders Inter. Then there is on the bill Vinicius Jr., Sevilla supporter ejected after allegedly racially abusing Real Madrid forward in a 1-1 draw. As there is Man United cannot afford Bradley Love from the opponent in Copenhagen reunion. And Tega, you would know why that came out that way. As there is a World Cup winner, Gomez denies doping after 2-year ban. Then there is dynamics also in this next one. Dynamo Kiev, I guess. Okay, well, let's see this next one. Dynamic duo Martinez Thuram leading Inter Champions League charge. That's all we have on the bill this morning, Tega.
All right, so Champions League is back Tuesday and Thursday. There's the Sevilla Arsenal match on Tuesday. That one is going to be huge. But let's start with the stories and our headlines, and we'll touch all the way to Tuesday's matchups.
Next, this one is Hamilton Leclerc disqualified from US Grand Prix. Mercedes star Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc were both disqualified from Sunday's US Grand Prix after their cars failed post-race inspections.
In case you didn't know, winning the race, driving or through the race is not enough. After the race, there's going to be some post-race inspections that can determine whether the results will stand. Now, this inspection happened 4 hours after the race. Now, most people have watched the race, we've gone to bed, you know, only for this result to come out. Yeah, 4 hours after, that's when this disqualification came. And it's one of those tricky ones. So they check the fuel, the amount of fuel left in the car. If the fuel is not, if fuel is not up to a certain standard, they will know that you didn't fill your tank, which meant that your car was lighter than it should have been at the start, which meant it will give you speed advantage, and they could disqualify you for that. So Vettel has had that issue. But this one is the floor panel. Now, and here's where it gets tricky. With the fuel situation, they check all cars. With this floor panel, they pick random cars. So we may not know how many other cars had this issue. But of the cars that they picked, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton's car had this issue. So they check the bottom, the underground of the car. If they see some kind of severe damage and the car wasn't involved in an incident or in an accident in the race, then they feel that you made your car a little lower. What happens when your car is a little lower is that you get advantage with aerodynamics, so you get speed. Now, Mercedes had been saying that because of the upgrade they brought to the US, that's what made their car fast. But with this result, we cannot categorically say if it was just the upgrades or if it was the aerodynamic minimal advantage they could have gotten from this. Now, like I said, because they choose the cars randomly, and they don't inspect every single car, we can't categorically say where they got their pace from, because they didn't check George Russell's car. And also with the Ferrari, they didn't check Carlos Sainz's car. So yes, some other people could have had their cars low, but this has always been the issue. They pick random people, they check those cars, and then if those people fail the inspection, then they are penalized. So really tricky one, because Lewis had closed the gap between himself and Sergio Perez to just 19 points. And maybe he could have been able to push, for that second place, like he pushed for second place in the race yesterday. Unfortunately for him, that result has been completely cancelled. So he recorded no points this weekend. But really tough one, because he had a really beautiful race. Started in third, was pushed to fourth, managed to drive his car, was at the top of the grid, looked like he was going to win his first race of the season. Then Mercedes made the biggest blunder of all, trying to finish on with one stop when the track is very bumpy. The track is really aggressive on cars. So Mercedes and Ferrari made that point that the track is aggressive on cars, and they're like, yeah, it's aggressive on cars, we know, but other people's cars are not as damaged as yours. Well, the floor panel. So the track is aggressive on cars. So Mercedes shouldn't have even thought that they could do only a one stop. Unfortunately, because of their poor strategy, and then they had a slow pit stop earlier with Lewis Hamilton, he ended up finishing second after fighting back to overtake Ferrari, to overtake McLaren, and close the gap to Max Verstappen, who was struggling with brake issues from 5 points, from 5 seconds, I think, to just a little over 2 seconds. He did all that brilliant drive, made all that brilliant effort, stood on the podium, celebrated, only to be.
Oh, no, very painful.
All right, so tough one for Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Really tough one.
From the US racetrack this morning, let's head to Japan, where Shelton beat Karasev at the Japan Open for first ATP tour. As the rising star Ben Shelton said he planned to celebrate his first ATP title with a cheeseburger, and credited his more subdued approach for his Japan Open victory on Sunday.
Wow. So I would say this for him. He has earned that cheeseburger. That's all I can say.
You earned it.
Some people win and they're like, okay, we're going to go out and have a party. He's just like, I
Yeah.
want to have a cheeseburger because it was probably not in his dietary plans for the entire week.
True.
But awesome progress by the 20-year-old made this season. Well, 21 now, but a fantastic progress because last season, I remember he was so far down in the rankings, and so you watched him. If you watched him play, when he just turned pro, you're just like, this guy is going to give the ATP a real run for their money. And a lot of people had that good view of him, especially at the US Open. So to see him win his first ATP tour his title is fantastic. Now, what will be more impressive is if he can have a better year than this year next season, because that's where the pressure comes in. The pressure is not in your breakout year. The pressure is in the season after your breakout season, because that's when people test if last year was just a fluke, a great run of form, or you really are the one to look out for. So next season is going to tell. In other news too, another surprise winner this weekend was Gael Monfils. Winning an ATP title. And here's what is interesting. He won the first title 12 years ago at this tournament, then comes back at 37 years old to win this title. So amazing for him. Congratulations to him this weekend. Great weekend for a few guys all around. But yes,
when you mentioned, if you mention Monfils, I always would like to mention the other half, Svitolina, in the mix, but then because behind every successful man, I'm just saying that. So I was expecting you to throw her into it.
I know I was not going. This is Gael Monfils' moment. Stop that.
Okay, I get it. Oh, Tega. So let's get on to Arsenal now and see if they're doing maintenance and work on Stamford Bridge after two elephants met at the bridge and fought for right of way, but eventually they went back because it was going to make the bridge collapse. But let's get into it. It says Arsenal fought back from 2 goals down to earn a 2-2 draw and preserve their unbeaten start to the Premier League season in a high-energy encounter at Stamford Bridge on Saturday with late goals from Declan Rice and Leandro Trossard.
I would say this, it was a very, very poor first 45 minutes from Arsenal. I expected it to be a little better. And we can't come out to categorically say it was Chelsea that stopped Arsenal from playing the way they're playing. Arsenal just looked lethargic in that first 45 minutes. A pace slow, a rhythm off. It was almost as if everybody just came back from the international break and they were still on a break for some reason. Chelsea, on the other hand, started like a house on fire. From the very first minute they were pressing. Now, there were different issues in the game that, could have turned out well. For me, I would have said Palmer's tackle it was not just a tackle. It was a tackle and a stamp, because he actually did lean into that stamp on Gabriel Jesus. I thought that should have been a red card. Commentator said it's an orange card. Somewhere in between red and yellow. I thought categorically red card. Start showing stamping on Gabriel, red card. But again, maybe because it was a derby, the referee may have thought it was a little too early and just left it at a yellow card. So that was the first incident, only for Arsenal to give away a penalty. Again, that penalty was questionable. I will say this every day of the week and twice on Sunday. That penalty was too close to call a penalty. Now, if the ball was crossing to the 18-yard box, and Mudryk headed the ball, but he headed it onto an outstretched arm of Saliba, who was in the air. So he jumped. It's not like he was just raising his hand, standing on the ground and saying hallelujah. He actually jumped. Now, if you're going to jump, you have your hand in the air at some point.
Out of natural position.
If the ball had come directly to hit Saliba's hand, no argument for me, penalty. But Mudryk was too close. The proximity of Mudryk's header to Saliba's arm was too close for it to have been given a penalty. And I've seen precedents set, you don't give that as a penalty. I've seen it several times happen, even in this EPL. So for them to look at that and VAR to call it, and then the center referee to eventually give it, for me, is the harshest penalty I've seen. It's tantamount to somebody just mistakenly shoving you, and then you give him two right hooks. You know, it was
Straight up.
crazy for it was
Yes.
crazy from the referee. But they called it Palmer, who I thought should have gotten a red card and been sent off, scored it. Seemed unfair. Second half, Mudryk scores a fantastic goal because David Raya, of course, was off his line, made a mistake there, and then Arsenal started the fight back. So some people would say Arsenal redeemed, saved themselves a point from this match because they looked like they were losing it at some point. I'd say two things. They dropped the point because I think they should have played a better 45 minutes. I also think that Mikel Arteta should never have started Jorginho. But what was, for me, the difference was the fact that they gave away a penalty, and that penalty helped Chelsea to get a point from this match. So a lot of talking points in this match, but I can't talk about it alone. I want to throw this open to everybody. What were your thoughts on the penalty? Should it have been given? And then what were your thoughts on the result at the end of the day? 2-2 draw between Arsenal and Chelsea. The numbers to send your messages to are.
And so let the bands officially begin to come in. Save your club, rep your club on 0809 444 0981. We'll read the messages when we come back.
What does future forward banking mean to you? Speed, innovation, convenience, lifestyle goals, or just simply getting service that is designed just for you? Yeah, we thought you might like all of that and more. That is why we specially created Providus Bank for you to take care of your daily experiences. At Providus Bank, we believe that banking should be all about you and your business and how to get you to the next level. If you do not already have a Providus Bank account, please speak with our business concierge on 0700 77 684 387 or even businessconcierge@providusbank.com to switch to a future forward banking experience. Providus Bank, future forward banking.
Are there messages? Omatseye, are there messages?
Hey, my people, how na day? You know, the times got hard. Higher than food. Don't take for Nigerians then. What is a reliable fridge, freezer, or any other appliances? So, there for you. What is an option with the last kakaraka? I have to there for you. What is an appliance where they consume too much electricity? I have to there for you. But now, higher than food don't land with another promo. What them call? We there for you. Police will that 2023. If you buy anything from higher than food, then go serve you up from top. Free standing cooker, free microwave, free air fryer, free AC installation, even more awoof day. For more story, visit any authorized dealer or www.temucool.com.ng. Make yourself begin to enjoy your own awoof. Terms and conditions get through. Temucool, always there for you. So brown, anytime they are around.
This is Johnny Drill, and you're listening to the Smooth Breakfast Show.
We're Smooth 98.1 FM. It's gone 26 minutes before it's 9 o'clock. It's still the locker room, and Tega Onojiafe is still here with me. Tega. We're back. You asked for it. So they're waiting.
I asked for it. I'm going to get it. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about, like I said, send your messages. The penalty that was given, what were your thoughts on it? Should it have stood? Should it not have stood? I have seen too many cases where the proximity determines that it is not given. But somehow on Saturday, they decided to give it. So should the penalty have stood or should it not have stood? And then the result at the end of the day, was it a good result for Arsenal or do you feel they could have gotten better? The numbers to send your messages to are
0809-444-0981. That's where we expect the messages to come up. Of course, you can go over to youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. And there we've got a message on YouTube waiting already. Ibrahim Hassan will tell you this morning, Arsenal almost shot themselves in the foot, and the professional game match officials limited, those guys are something else. That's all we can see from Facebook, from YouTube at this moment. But on WhatsApp,
LK Aderogba has not come to brag. He was so confident that Arsenal were going to lose, and now he's quiet. LK Aderogba, come outside.
Call him out. Call him out. All right, but it's a rain of messages on WhatsApp right now, so I go straight to it. AGK from Bariga. So the Silver Arrows changed their floor panel as an upgrade. They reduced their center of gravity and in effect reduced their points after all the celebrations on the podium. Really, what sort of random selection was done here? Because Hamilton finished high on the grid. That's reacting to FIA. And then comes AY from Oniru, Chelsea, such Syria butlers. Blowing away 2-goal lead so carelessly in such an important game clearly shows that they are not ready to compete to be among the top 4. If they continue like this, then they should forget about Champions League football next season. As we'll have Cozy Coles saying, be calming down, Tega, and hand really didn't change the direction of the ball. I think that that was why it was given, because Arsenal didn't really have a shot on target until Sanchez just felt like he should start celebrating Christmas early. That's from Cozy Coles.
Okay, so the penalty was given because Arsenal didn't have a shot on target.
Yes.
Okay. Let's hear the next one.
Then it says, Tega, you missed the part where Chelsea's Sanchez took out Jesus while also missing the ball, a clear penalty similar to Man U's Onana earlier against
Thank
Wolves.
you. I forgot to mention that one. Yes. So, yes, I forgot to. Thank you.
Which made Howard Webb remark later that it should be a penalty. Are these referees really up to it? Kende from Lagos sent us that one. And then I've got Shegun Fumi from Arekpo saying, officiating the EPL doesn't surprise me anymore. The referee was inconsistent during the Merseyside derby. Same thing for the London derby. Jurgen Klopp isn't asking for a replay now. And then
no, you know what I want to say? I want to say that the Premier League give it and the Premier League take it. So Liverpool have been repaid for that cancelled goal. I don't want to hear anybody crying on the TL again. No.
Okay, and then we'll come in, James from Lekki. As an Arsenal fan, I think we did well to fight back and get a draw, but that was definitely not a penalty. VAR in the EPL just keeps getting worse, James from Lekki. And then I would take in Tunde Osmo's message here saying, Tega, I disagree with you that that penalty was unfair. Modric was goal bound only for Saliba's outstretched hand to stop it. It is a clear penalty, though it took VAR to see it. Arsenal were just lucky on Saturday. Chelsea came with determination to shame Arsenal. That's what they had to say. It's a rain of messages.
It's a rain of messages, but let's take one or two more stories and then we wrap up with the messages.
Okay, so Cheerful Locatelli sings 10-man Milan as Juve close in on leaders.
A huge one. I was talking about it. That was supposed to be the match of the weekend in the Serie A. AC Milan taking on Juventus, albeit came right immediately after the international break. And as usual, AC Milan did what they knew how to do to disappoint. First of all, we have to talk about their 40-year-old goalkeeper. Yesterday, he made a few saves. In fact, one of them, a double save that still kept the result decent, because it could have been a worse result than that 1-0 loss. But Juventus coming out to make a statement with that win. The red card also didn't help AC Milan. All in all, AC Milan still did not play a good game. It was a poor one, and it's becoming a pattern now that immediately after the international break, it's a good time to play AC Milan. They struggle. So I don't know how long Pioli will last in that job. He may even walk away by himself because the results are frustrating to managers too. But it was not a good result for AC Milan, but a fantastic result for Juventus. They are now just 2 points behind leaders Inter Milan, who completely blitzed their game over the weekend. So AC Milan is still second. Result didn't change their position much. But I mean, on the balance of head-to-head against your biggest rivals, they haven't fared well. Also, good news for Napoli, they eventually got a win. Yay, let's clap for them. Caracella, Caracella scoring for them and them getting that win. And also for Jose Mourinho, again, he gets sent off. I don't know. If Jose Mourinho was a player on the pitch, he'd be worse than Ramos because he'd be picking up red cards every 2 market days. But he gets sent off again. And this time he was again taunting the fans and too much back chat. But his team has managed to win and they are now up into the top half of the table. So let's see how he progresses from there. But all in all, around the Serie A this weekend, a lot of the great teams won apart from AC Milan.
Okay, away from the special one now, where we head to Real Madrid and see how they're settling down after the weekend's game. As a Sevilla supporter was ejected from the La Liga match with Real Madrid after allegedly directing racist abuse towards Vinicius Jr. during the 1-1 draw.
That was an ugly sight. First of all, let's talk about the match. Not the most brilliant defensive performance by Real Madrid, but they will also complain that they could have had, some calls go in their favor that didn't go in their favor, build up to Sevilla's goal and all of that. But the match was now made it worse. The 2 points that Real Madrid dropped with the incident with the racist chant. And I think for me, I've said it, as soon as there's racism spotted anywhere, if we're going to take this thing seriously, match ends and the points will be taken from the club that has the racism against them. It should be that simple because this racism is a societal issue that is being manifested in football. But if you start punishing it in football, it would stop in football. It's that simple. Everybody just kept posting a picture of the man that was making the racist gesture, but there was a little boy there. That's the future generation. He couldn't have been more than 8 years old, doing his own racism gesture. Shut the match down, walk off the pitch, and collect your 3 points. It should be that simple, especially in the La Liga and the Italian Serie A, where this thing is really rife. So, yes, want to applaud Sevilla for ejecting the fan, but that's not enough. You eject the fan, another one will come. But if you collect 3 points, which is precious in their sights, every fan will behave themselves. They can go outside though and try to do it.
Yeah.
But on social media and in the stadium, you will not see all this. You will not see it again. Just collect their precious 3 points.
Yeah, because it's beginning to look like this knee we take before we get the game started. It's not making any impact.
I mean, think about it. Little boys are doing this now. So if you say it will die with a particular generation, it will not, because the next generation has already learned it.
The seed has been sown.
The seed has been sown. So I think Vinicius Jr. should have, it was both players from both teams, trying to calm him down. It's not me. Yes. I think all Real Madrid players should have walked off with their teammates. And La Liga should collect 3 points from Sevilla. End of discussion. We start from there, and we know where we can escalate it to. But what you take their precious 3 points that they fought hard to get.
So it's not looking like the end of discussion yet for some other persons, as Man United cannot afford Bradley Love from Hoodland in Copenhagen reunion. Speak to us about this.
Oh, yes. So Copenhagen is playing Manchester United in the Champions League on Tuesday. First of all, congratulations to Manchester United. They did the job against Sheffield United, getting the win. But now the Højlund brothers are going to face up against each other. So there's a Højlund playing for Copenhagen. Sorry, there are 2 Højlunds playing for Copenhagen and 1 Højlund playing for Manchester United. So it's a reunion. Okay. That guy's father has made money. Imagine 3 of your sons professional footballer. That's a good pension plan. But the brothers are going to meet again in the Champions League, and Manchester United will hope to have a better outing this time in the Champions League. They don't want to have back-to-back losses in the Champions League. So they'll be looking to get a result, and they'll be hoping to draw from their win this weekend. And on that note, we cannot take any more stories, but let's take as many messages as we can.
Okay, let's go. Rafa from Bagada says, as much as the comeback felt good, an extra goal would have felt better. I see it as 2 points lost, but on the basis of the international break, the boys can be forgiven. We want more. Okay, we move. Then it goes on, by your glory to God says, Arsenal was denied victory as an obvious penalty when the Chelsea keeper missed the ball and crashed into Jesus, was denied bad officiating Bayer from Yaba. Also, the penalty against Arsenal was neither here nor there, well, 50-50. Then comes in this one, it says, nice analysis. Arsenal first half was bad, but you didn't mention Gabriel Jesus, Sanchez late challenge, which is clear penalty compared on similar to Andre Onana challenge during Wolves game. And I've got this one. This one from Mohammed says, Tega, you just said that Chelsea spoiled your ticket instead of this chalaye of red card and not a penalty. Did the ball touch the chest or stomach instead of the hand? Proximity has nothing to do with it in today's rules. That's all he had to say.
Oh, proximity has everything to do with it. And like I said, there's precedence. So it's not like it started today. There's precedence at the World Cup. There's precedence at the Champions League. But when it comes to EPL, VAR will be looking at semantics.
Okay. All right, then I've got Mide here for us says, it's only Chelsea fans that agree with the referee's decision, but Arsenal played their worst game so far this season to think they have not reached the level that they were last season. Arteta should get the blame for starting Jorginho when Partey was fit. Anyways, we have played 4 big teams and still unbeaten. Big E from Ketu comes in. Tega, when I saw the lineup against Chelsea, I knew we are going to flop or settle for a draw. And Jorginho is sloppy with the ball. Trossard should have started the game with his intensity, and what a goal from Declan Rice. And Chelsea boys were bully, especially Crusella. And a whole lot of message, Tega. I'm afraid we appreciate. Let's just make a roll call of the messages. Chimobi, I see you. Gary Newton, Emmanuel, and I also see Tayo here. I say, Emeka Onelum, I see your messages, but that's how we can wrap it up this morning.
We can wrap it up. Okay, on that note, I want to say thank you so much for sending in these messages. Unfortunately, we couldn't read all of them. Thank you for listening, watching us on YouTube. I was still waiting for LK Aderugba's message. We'll see it later. But thank you for watching and for listening to the show and also watching us on YouTube. Thank you for sending in your messages. So we see again on Wednesday where there'll be more banter, hopefully. Omatseye, take over.
All right, so that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone, for listening. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. Good morning.